Okay, it's live.
Awesome.
Oh, look. LOTI went live. Oh.
All right.
Yeah. We did get an email last week.
Oh, sweet.
I totally forgot about it. And I think it came in the day of, so.
Okay. All right.
And he sent a deck.
Sweet.
It's in the notes.
Oh, wow. You guys are just real people. We definitely aren't fake, that's for sure. We are not robots. Let's see.
Well, I'm not convinced you aren't.
Thanks, man.
Depending on how well your internet's going. Sometimes you do sound like a robot.
This is true. Yeah, speaking of which, let me take my phone off the internet. And my iPad. I'm hoping they get out here soon and upgrade our internet to 50.
Yeah.
It'll be 6 point something up and 50 down.
That is amazing for you.
Oh, it'll be like a whole new world, dude. Like being able to click on a card.
New world. Sorry.
That was the first Disney movie I saw in a theater. But it'll be amazing, dude. I cannot wait. It's gonna be phenomenal. Because I'll be able to click on a card and actually drag it, and it'll be good. Oh, and I'm thinking I got a gift card from a teacher or from a parent, and I'm thinking of getting the Necromancer.
Oh, yeah. You should. It's good.
Yeah, because I saw a speed build, like Greater Rift 80, because I'm only up to like Greater Rift 40 on my wizard. So I'd like to push a little higher. Did you finish your journey? Your to get your pet dragonling Jade
Oh,
Serpent?
no. I did not. I actually had only logged in one time since then.
I gotcha. Dude,
I need to.
Arthas portrait versus Arthas portrait right now. Pretty cool.
Oh, you're playing.
Yeah, I wanted to see what Arthas looked like. I haven't seen, dude. I literally just got it.
Wow.
I had to see what because Warrior, dude, first try with Warrior. I saved it till the last because I thought it would be the hardest because I never play Warrior. Yeah, I was super stoked. And I'm also trying to find this tweet. There it is. Wayne Wells tweeted out a deck that he wants me to look at, or I guess he wants us to look at. There we go. And then Facebook shout out, and then I'll be ready.
Hands in the chat.
Oh, what? Hey, what's up, man? Awesome.
Okay, there's your thing.
Okay, Zencasta. Awesome. Okay. Facebook shout out. Dude, I gotta give it to you.
Oh, for the announcement?
You want to do it that way, or well, let's give it to DeSharmo.
Yeah. We'll talk about it before.
Yeah, that 12-win run, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, let's give it to him. That's cool. Because that's dude, I don't. I mean, I've almost done it before, but it is not easy. All right. Mm-hmm. All right. So I think Twitter shout out, Facebook shout outs, Espo mode. And then the 9 rounds with the big guy, we'll just talk about what we did to beat him. I should have taken notes, but I kind of remember. We need to get our first subscriber on Twitch. Who's going to be our first subscriber? I think it should be Ann and Jeremy.
One of the things we're gonna have to do or work on is getting our subscribers can get access to an emote by being a subscriber.
I think it ought to be the fun guaranteed thing.
Yeah, but making that small is gonna be hard.
Yeah. Too bad we didn't
I thought about that.
Too bad we didn't have anybody that was a graphic designer that could do it.
Well, somebody talks to them all the time.
All the time. I miss my res.
And I did stream on Saturday some of my attempts.
Oh, nice, dude. Good job.
Trying to keep it up. We don't have any subs because we just got the affiliate. Literally last week.
Yeah, we just got it.
We have not even mentioned it yet on the show. So.
That's why we're looking for our first subscriber. Ah, nice. Ah, nice. That's awesome. That is awesome. And is our first subscriber. We'll have to give Ann a shout out. Awesome. That's sweet. I love it. Awesome. That's sweet. I love it.
I need to set up. I need to set up a notification.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know how that works.
I've got it set up already with my stream level, but
I don't even know how that works.
I've got it set up already with my stream level, but
I guess I should subscribe to my own channel. There we go. We got 2 subscribers. I guess I should subscribe to my own channel. Sweet. There we go. We got 2 subscribers. I guess I should subscribe to my own channel. Sweet. There we go. We got 2 subscribers. Sweet.
okay, I add a little tip jar.
Okay.
Okay, I add a little tip jar. Okay, notification alerts. Okay, notification alerts. I don't want that one on there yet.
Yes, Anne. Yes.
I don't want that one on there yet.
Yes, Anne.
Okay, so now if I test the subscription. Okay, so now it's a little creepy to have test the subscription. That one, but too bad. For now, that works. Okay, so now.
Oh, I'm echoing again.
Oh, my fault. It's my fault. Hold on. Too bad. For now, that works.
Okay, it's everybody then. Okay.
Everything.
Thank you, Ann.
Oh, my fault. It's my fault. Hold on. Too bad. I had my stream playing. Sorry. My fault.
Whoops. Yeah, this is only our 156th episode.
Well, some of the stuff's all new. Much better. Is the volume loud enough? Because I had tweaked it a little bit.
How about now? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Ann.
Okay.
All right, so the Arthas hero is awesome. 252. Check.
Okay, I guess we should probably get started.
Sure.
Okay, I'm ready. Are you ready?
Yes,
Okay, I'm hitting record.
you should.
Now stop typing.
Oh, can you hear that?
Yes. Typing slower doesn't make it quieter.
I'm not typing at all. I'm actually holding my hands until you say I can type.
Okay, wait till once the music starts, you can type.
Yeah.
Until then, be quiet. You're listening to Legend of the Innkeeper, the Hearthstone podcast for casual players.
Ah, you're new here. Pull up a chair by the hearth.
Welcome to Legend of the Innkeeper. I'm Bastidius.
And I am Espo.
And how is it going?
Well, I got the information about Baby Espo in Twitch chat, so for everybody to read up on my personal life. Baby
Progress.
Espos are progressing nicely.
Excellent.
So that's good. Playing Hearthstone like a fiend. This game is just I don't know, dude. I can't get enough. It's like I'm in that mode where I have so many decks that I want to play that I don't have enough time. It's insane because I want to play each of them at least 5 or 6 times, right? Maybe a dozen, and just crazy. All this stuff going on, and then lots of news today, dude. How about we did it? We made it on the. We're on the wake, I guess, right? Right when the wave starts to break, we're right there on the top, just riding it in. On the news wave.
Oh,
You know,
yes,
it's not like
yes. Meaning,
you know,
it didn't happen 4 days ago.
Breaks. Yeah, exactly. The wave breaks, hits the shore, and all the water rolls back out, and then here we are. Hey, let's talk. Yeah, it happened a week ago.
Or it happening like an hour from now when we stop recording.
Yeah, we're exactly a week early.
Yeah, that works out really good. Yeah, and considering also that this week was very quiet on the news front until this thing hit. Really, the only news out there was the fact that there was some news coming. It was like, okay, great. Will that news come out in time for us to talk about it? Sure enough, it did.
That always makes me laugh how Blizzard does that. They're always saying, "Hey, okay, pretty soon we're going to give you some news about the news that's coming up. So just watch Twitter. We'll tell you." And then later on, they're like, "Hey, we got news coming up. Pay attention."
That's right.
Like we don't already pay attention, you know. We're all waiting with bated breath anyway.
Well, especially with this topic in general, there's been a lot of discussion about this whole topic, and yeah, we knew something was coming. We knew it was going to happen soon. Something had to be done, and yeah, they did. They did some stuff. But before we go digging into that,
you're talking about when they found out Zeroshio got Legend again, right? That they're going to nerf
especially the
him.
way he did it.
Yeah. Like he actually played Hearthstone and got it.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I'm so proud of him.
So the new season started. We've rolled into September. Yeah, it's September, right? I'm thinking, wait, what month is it? September now, and we have a new season. We have a new card back. It's the Frost Knight. Do you remember where you ended up rank wise?
14.
Okay. I believe I was 17. So
Yep.
didn't play a whole lot last month. Till towards the end of the month when all the release came out and we kind of dug into it. But yeah, got my card back. When the season ended, I just realized all of a sudden, like, wait a second, did I get under 20? I'm pretty sure I did. I'm pretty sure I did. But I was like, wait a second. Ooh,
You pulled a
that's how bad it's
res.
been.
You pulled
Yeah.
a res twice now. I want maybe once or twice now. Res has been like, dude, I forgot to get rank 20.
Yeah, I definitely did, and I'm already working on rank 20 for this month as well. Although I have to admit, one of the decks I'm using to try and move my way down is a deck that's going to be affected by some of the news and changes that are coming. So I need to hurry and utilize that before a patch goes live if I want to keep it in its current format. Anything
what
you
deck
want to...
is it?
It's a Druid, Jade Druid deck.
Okay,
Yeah.
Jade Druid. Jade Druid didn't get hit that hard.
I mean, it's going to change some.
We can talk about it. We'll talk about it in a little bit because I got a little bit I want to say. Dude, 252 on my priest.
Good.
Yeah. Even though I had a quest to either play Shaman or play Elementals, one or the other. And I started playing Shaman, and I was like, man, this is fun, and I was doing really well. So I actually played quite a few games with Shaman, and I ended up, I think I'm at 205 wins with Shaman. So that might be my next golden. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm definitely working on my Golden Priest. That would be awesome if I could get Golden Priest. It's one of my favorite, definitely my top 4 favorite classes. I love Thief Priest, and now I've been playing a Resurrect Priest. I think I mentioned it when Frozen Throne came out. I said I saw these Resurrect cards and I was like, oh my gosh, I love KT, love Kel'Thuzad, and the fact that he brings back all the minions that died at the end of the turn, and Resurrect is just insane power. So I was like, wow, I can actually play these dudes and resurrect them, bring them out with Barnes, and they're 1/1. They're going to die easy, and then resurrect them next turn at full health. Sign me up. So I've been playing that a lot and having a ton of fun. Just a bunch of big dudes, a couple guys that bring out copies of them and resurrect, and have at it. Even when I lose, I'm having fun. So lots of priest.
Awesome. Well, like I said, I've been playing mostly Druid, and I've been taking a couple stabs again at getting the Lich King knocked off. And I hate to say it, but I haven't succeeded yet. I've never beaten them.
How many? Wait, not even with one class? Oh no, dude.
Not even one.
You didn't even get your third pack yet. Wow.
No, I haven't.
That's tough.
I know, man. It's sad. It's sad, especially considering what we're doing right now.
Some of the classes I beat him with first try.
But as someone has once said in the past, or will be saying in the future in a moment, we're just real people playing Hearthstone for fun.
This is true. This is true. We are not robots. If we were robots, you'd already get your Arthas.
Yeah, and we're not masters of the game. We're trying to enjoy the game and share that fun with everybody else. We're talking to right now, you're listening because we listen. We enjoy having fun with the game in general and talking about it.
Oh yeah.
Although I think Espo would probably, what is the word? Combust if he didn't have an outlet for talking about this game, right?
This is true.
Spontaneously combust. Boom. It'd be a puff and a little pile of dust.
But
at least we could take the dust and craft a new. We could craft a new legendary version of you though. With the dust that's left over after spontaneous combust.
It'd be fun. Funny. It'd be fun.
It would be.
Yeah, Rez and I, every time we FaceTime, I talk about it. You think? If it was, you'd in honor of me, you'd have to dust me again just to get the regular version.
But a golden Espo.
There we go. Golden Espo. Make it happen.
Okay, so let's dig into the nerfs. Changes. Yeah. Well, nerfs. Because they really are nerfs. What they are is a nerf essentially is changing a card to make it not quite as good as it was before for reasons. And yeah, so the very first one, the biggest one that is out of this batch is the change made to a card for Druid, which is a basic card. And basic cards are cards that are from the very beginning cards that you get with every class. You cannot disenchant them, you cannot craft them. They're just cards you earn as you play the game and level your character up. And each class has their own set of basic cards. And this card specifically is Innervate for the Druid. The current, before the change, stats on the card is it's a 0 mana Druid spell. And the text on the card says give 2 mana crystals this turn only. The new card that you're changing it to is going to still be a 0 mana Druid spell. But the text is going to change to gain 1 mana this crystal this turn only. So they're reducing the amount of mana you get for the same amount of cost. Now, their comments on this is that the Innervate creates explosive starts to a game that can be really difficult for an opponent to recover from. And this changes to keep the card as a simple basic card, it still slows down that explosive start potential. Now, they did say that there were some options that they considered instead of reducing the cost, maybe making the card different completely. One of the options was refreshing 2 mana crystals instead of what it says now. Another option was gaining 2 mana crystals this turn only and increasing the mana cost to 1, so it actually would cost something. Or even another crazy idea, which is gain 6 mana crystals this turn only, increase the mana cost to 4, which would have been a huge swing change for it. But it would still net only 2 mana crystals, in the end, because you're using 4. But however, what they wanted to do is keep the card simple, because it is a basic card. You don't want a whole bunch of complications, especially for new players. And they did keep in mind other cards like Counterfeit Coin, which is really strong when you combine it with other cards. But with the right support cards for Innervate, it still may end up seeing play, but it won't be in every deck. And again, that is their end goal. And we're going to talk about that a little bit further on with some discussions with Ben Brode that he had. But what are your thoughts? Did they make the right move in making this change?
I think they did. When I was thinking about what they were going to do, because yesterday Ben Brode made a tweet saying they're closely looking at the cards and what changes they're going to make. And I thought about on my way to work this morning, what cards are in every Druid deck, like a staple. And Innervate was top of the list. And I think, the probably the win percentages for when people were able to play Innervate on turns 1, 2, or 3, the win percentages were probably like over 60%, which we know is big. That's pretty big. And that's just my opinion. I mean, those stats are coming out of the thin air. I'm not quoting anyone. I'm not, I don't do my own stats. I'm just taking a wild guess. And I'm thinking, because Blizzard has access to all these stats. They can say, okay, if Innervate was played on turn 1, 2, or 3, what was the win percentage?
Mm-hmm.
If Innervate was played at all, what was the win percentage? How many Druid decks have Innervate in them? They can look at all that information and just, tear it to pieces and figure it out. And I'm sure they've done that. And, bottom line is, I think this was good because you could easy on turn 1 get out a minion that has 4 attack or a minion that has 5 attack, a minion that has 4 health or 5 health. I mean, it was crazy, right?
Yep.
And it made it tough on the other classes. But I think this is a good change. We saw a change like Warsong Commander totally make the card unplayable. We saw a change to Unleash the Hounds, and it's one. Now, Unleash the Hounds has been changed 4 times, I believe. And I think the last change they made was the final and the best one.
Yes.
But Unleash the Hounds, we saw it go completely unplayable. We saw another hunter card, the not Scavenging Hyena, but Buzzard. Okay, we saw Buzzard go from 2 mana to 5 mana, and it's hardly ever seen play, except maybe in like some crazy deck. Nothing really competitive or nothing that anybody would legitimately play on ladder. We do see it played, but not not as much as it was before. I think they killed the card, but the one they killed the most, I think, was Warsong Commander. We don't that card. I mean, I don't even think newer players would know it was in their collection if they had it, just because it's so unplayable. I think with this change, I hate to call them nerfs because it was so overpowered before that bringing it down, nerfing it would make it seem like it's supposed to be played in a kid's deck. It can still be played. It can still be a card that triggers Auctioneer. It can still be a card that is used, to help you ramp a little bit. There's many ramp cards in Druid, so I don't think this is going to hurt Druid that much. I think it was probably their best change out of all of these, and we'll talk about the rest here.
Technically, though, this card is essentially now counterfeit coin, or literally a coin.
Well, counterfeit coin you actually have to collect. It's not a basic card.
True. I mean, a zero cost card that gives you 1 mana, it's the coin card. I mean, that's really literally what you have. Yeah. Except the Druid has access to it anytime.
And that's what makes
you can put it in any deck.
That's what makes this a better card, I think, because they can get it without any, it's easier. It's easily accessible. As soon as you play the game, you have it. So, but yeah, and I think it works a lot better too.
Now there is the gamut of opinions on this.
I'm sure there is
wild swings. So I'm sure you're going to hear from just about everybody the positives and negatives for this one, among the other things too. I mean, there's other changes out there as well that we're going to be talking about here in a minute. But yeah, you're going to hear quite a bit of input. In fact, I guarantee you that what you're going to hear, especially when you hear some of the other changes, people saying, that's it, I'm done with this game, I forget it. You keep screwing the game up, all you're after is money and all of these things. So keep it in mind that these changes are for the benefit of the game, to make the game more solid going forward, and probably taking into account some changes that they're going to be adding with new expansions. And they're forward looking, saying, hey, well, if we want to do this really awesome idea for the next expansion, we have to make these changes, or otherwise they're just going to be way out of balance and we cannot do what we want to do. So hold out. Hopefully we will have some really awesome cards to play with in the future that are going to benefit from these changes. And we've seen that already in the past. They had to make changes to cards because they would have interacted with future cards in a way that just would have broken the game. So, okay, anything else with this one? Well, I'm sure you may have to say something about the next one. Fiery War Axe. That is our Warrior's basic card. It's currently a 2-mana 3/2 weapon. It is now going to be a 3-mana 3/2 weapon. No text added, no text on the card. It's plainly a basic card. And on that card, what they kind of said is it's a powerful weapon from the start that works really well with combinations like pirates and cards that synergize with weapons. And raising the cost by 1 will slow down the warrior's tempo and lower the overall power level of the card. And in spite of the change, they still expect to see it being played here and there in decks.
So we have
thoughts.
The thing is, with this card, it's also played in Control Warrior. It's not just played in your pirate, face warrior. And we see this same weapon now, except a little bit more powerful, being played in Hunter in the Eaglehorn Bow. So Eaglehorn Bow is 3 mana, 3/2, but it has an upside that it can gain charges every time you play a secret, or every time a secret is revealed, or on your friendly secrets revealed. They changed that. So it's actually less powerful than Eaglehorn Bow, and we don't see Eaglehorn Bow played a lot. And I just I don't think it's going to be seeing play in as much. But I mean, I really didn't see this change coming because I didn't think it was that powerful. I mean, I knew it was powerful, but not. I don't know. I don't think this really needed it. I think it maybe hurt Warrior a little bit more than it helped other classes, if that makes sense. You know, yep. I mean, we're looking at balancing the classes, right? That's the idea, is to make all classes as equal as possible. You know, we saw Druid just going crazy in the past, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks. We're going on 4 weeks. Druid's just been insane with the buffs it got from the Frozen Throne. We've seen, you know, Warrior before, and you know what they're trying to do is they're trying to even out these classes to make it so, you know, every class has a viable, you know, deck to play. So they nerfed this to maybe give other classes a chance, but I think it hurts Warrior more than it helps other classes. That's my thoughts. I mean, that's just what I see in this.
Well, one of the biggest things, it sounded like that the Pirate Warrior was kind of the target with this change, and they probably might have wanted to do this a different way because, you know, this affects so much. I've heard a lot of Warrior players saying that this is like the final nail in the coffin, that they're just done playing Warrior because this is just way too. All these changes you're making is just hard on the Warrior, but you know, it's going to have to be. We'll have to see, because there are other good cards you can slot in this place. And again, the end goal for Blizzard is, let's reduce the amount of these basic cards being included and auto-included in every deck. Oh, I bet you look at it, almost every single deck out there for Warriors got this card in it. They got 2 copies of it. Yeah. I don't personally see a problem with having a card in every single deck. But Blizzard doesn't like that, and they want to mix things up, and they want to see some more creativity around cards not having auto include. So their choice to make these changes, and this is one of the big ones. You know, kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But and then we have another big, huge change to another basic card. This is the Shaman card, Hex. Hex is being changed from a current of 3 mana Shaman spell, transform a minion into a 0/1 frog with taunt, to the new one, which is a 4 mana cost Shaman spell, transform a minion into a 0/1 frog with taunt. So the same text, it's just the mana cost is going up from 3 to 4. Now, this is the crazy one in the batch, because they're not making this change due to a current power level problem, but they're making a quote-unquote forward-thinking change with the overall identity of the class in mind. So changing the Hex card makes Shaman a bit weaker against big minions and worse at silencing, and they think that having both strengths and weaknesses in a class is important. Yeah. I don't see that this is going to eliminate the card from the deck, but it's certainly going to slow people down from putting it in decks, or at least 2 of them in decks, because of the extra mana cost. But just interesting that they're making a change to something when there's not quite really a problem yet. But they look at the overall class and say, you know what, this is going to be a problem.
Well, they know a lot more than we do. They know the future cards. They're currently probably working 2 expansions ahead on finalizing the cards for 2 expansions ahead. So they know what's coming. But this hurts Control big time, because the Shaman was able to control the board with their, you know, AoEs and their hexes, and I mean, this is definitely hurting Control Shaman players, which stinks. I played Shaman and played like a mid-range yesterday or the day before and had a blast with it. Now, granted, I didn't run Hex because I just didn't see a need to. There weren't, the Lich King. I could deal with him easy enough by either silencing him or just taking him down with a couple of my little minions. But there's because we're seeing a lot of the Lich King right now. Let's admit, I think everybody's trying out the Lich King, and that do I think this is a change that we needed? No, but I also don't know the cards that are coming down the pipe. I mean, they obviously do. So maybe that's what they mean by this forward thinking. They're seeing cards coming down the pipe that are going to be really, really powerful control shaman cards, and Hex would just be another arrow in the control shaman quiver that would just totally make it just impossible to beat. So
now one thing also
why they
to
would
keep
do
in
it
mind
now,
is
then I don't know, but
this puts it at a same cost as polymorph, so which is the mage's kind of equivalent spell. The polymorph doesn't have a taunt, so it's.
So the thing with
Anyways,
polymorph is, I like polymorph better, and the reason I like it better is because you can polymorph a minion, making it a 1/1, so it still can attack, right? Because a 0/1 cannot attack at all. A 1/1 can still attack, so it can poke a divine shield. It can ping, whatever things you need to just tap. There are some minions out there that you don't want to kill. You just want to either take a divine shield off, or you want to tap just to give something armor, or to enrage something, or in the warrior's case, enable a what is it? When something's already damaged, you can kill it right off. I forget the card. You can tell I don't play warrior much, but when a minion's damaged, you just pay 2 to kill it. Can't remember of it, but anyway, I'm sure someone in Twitch chat knows. But what this enables, this polymorph enables, right? Execute. That's the name of the card. Execute. So it's an enabler, whereas Hex has the taunt. So I think that's why they can say, okay, we're going to put it up to 4. It's going to be on the same power level as polymorph, because polymorph makes a beast, which is a positive. If you're going to look at anything positive out of it, it's still a beast and it still has 1 attack. You got Hex, which is also a beast because it's a frog and it has taunt. So it may not have the attack, but it has taunt. Right. So, 4 mana makes them both about even. I mean, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and that's the way, that's the way I looked at it. So, yeah, that's because I did put some thought into it, and I thought, well, this is weird, but maybe they were trying to make it, that same power level, or the equivalent to it.
Well, overall, it does seem like that this is been taken as a decent change. People aren't too upset about it. A lot of people are like, why? Kind of just more of a question than anything. But I think we'll see how that one turns out in the end. But I don't think that one affects it too much. But I think a lot of people kind of wanted to see this change for a while, that they felt that this was a little low cost. And so, but it is interesting that they mentioned the fact that it's a change that is forward thinking. So there must be something coming that they're really working on that might actually improve Shaman in certain ways, or give them some different tools that they don't have currently. So we'll see what happens with the next expansion. Okay, then the next one, big change, is a neutral epic Murloc War Leader. He's currently a 3-mana 3/3 Murloc. Your other Murlocs have +2/+1, which is +2 attack, +1 health. The new card is the same, except the text is your other Murlocs have +2 attack. So they removed the +1 extra health that you give to all your Murlocs. This guy's on the board. So their comment was, removing the health buff from Murloc War Leader will make it easier for players to clear the board of Murlocs and still have it remain a classic build around card. This gives a simplification of healing buffs, healing giving buffs, and additional room for future Murlocs, since the War Leader is still going to be around for quite a while, since it's a neutral card. Neutral classic card, I guess you would say. Um, yeah, so the idea here is that this card is going to, before you could boost up your Murlocs, if you had 2 of these on the board with 2 extra health each, which put them out of range for a lot of
one extra health.
Well, if you had 2 of them.
Oh, if you had 2 of them, yes.
Yeah, 2 on the board, you bumped them out 2 health, and that puts them out of the range for a lot of the removal on the board. So it made it really difficult, and it just kept getting worse, especially with the other cards you could throw down with it. So having this not give out health, it gives you a little bit easier time of removing these cards as an opponent. So I totally can see this, because you can get those things out of control really quick on those games. So thoughts?
I think it's okay. I don't think it's going to hurt the Murloc players. We see a lot of Murloc Paladin right now, and we've seen it for a while. Taking away that 1 health, it may hurt them a little bit, but it's not going to keep them from playing it. I still think it's a viable card. I still think it's an epic card, and I still think it'll see play. I mean, it's a 3 cost. If you're playing Murlocs, give all your other Murlocs +2 attack. I mean, and usually what I would do with this guy is I would play him when I'm ready to attack with a bunch of Murlocs. Mm-hmm. So he would basically just throw him down. He would buff everybody else, and they'd go to face. So it's not like I was using him for the health anyway. It was nice, but they would just kill him off and then not worry about the extra health buff anymore. So, he would be a kill on sight. So I don't think, and people would play him as that. They would use him just to buff their minions, just to attack something big, or to go face for it, either lethal or to hurt somebody pretty bad. And knowing that he was KOS. So
now keep in mind that you still have Cold Light Seer, which its battle cry is give your other Murlocs +2 health. So that ability isn't gone. It's just that persistent ability of him being on a board, giving everybody +2/+1 all the time, Murloc wise, is kind of changed. So now you're not giving your minions +2 health +1, giving 3. It does change your approach to Murloc decks a little bit.
Yeah, I like it. I actually like this change. I think it's good. Is it going to change the number of Murloc war leaders we see? Definitely not. I still think we'll see the same amount. It'll just not give it as much. It'll actually give this Murloc more staying power. He will actually stay on the board longer because he's not necessarily a kill on sight anymore. So if anything, it's a buff to Murloc war leader, but to other Murlocs, it just makes it easier for you to kill them. So he's happy. He's like, hey, they're not after me anymore because I'm not buffing anyone else's health. So
right, yeah.
Because that's what you would do, to kill off all the other Murlocs. You'd run a few Unleash the Hounds into this guy, and then the other ones were easier to kill. So now he's kind of laughing, because they're not aiming at him as much anymore if they're worried about health.
Right.
So, yeah. That's how I look at it. I think it's a good change, but I definitely don't
agree.
think it's not going to hurt Murloc players.
I'm on the fence. One, if I'm the one playing the Murloc deck, this stinks, because that means mine are so that much more susceptible. If I'm on the receiving end of that Murloc deck, oh yeah, I'm so much happier. So reality-wise, I should be happier that it's changed than it's staying around, because you really shouldn't have a deck that you feel really good about playing it, and your opponents always feel really bad about getting it in the face. So you need to have some good balance there. Okay, last card that they announced a change to is Spreading Plague, which is weird that this one's being changed so quickly considering it was last expansion. But it's just like, I have hardly played this card, let alone seeing it on the board so much. But there's a reason to change it. So Spreading Plague, the Druid card, rare. Its current card says 5 mana Druid spell. Summon a 1/5 Scarab with Taunt. If your opponent has more minions, cast this again. The new card is a 6 mana version of the same spell. So they upped the mana cost by 1. Their comment was that Spreading Plague is a defensive tool that's very good for druids to protect themselves against aggressive decks, but it was too efficient at 5 mana. So raising the 6 will slow the card down slightly while still allowing it to be used in the late game. And one of the things they did do is that they considered possibly changing it to 7, but since they made those changes to Innervate and the adjustments that were being made, they decided to just only add 1 mana to the cost and to leave it at that point at this stage. So, thoughts?
So my first thought was, wow, they are buffing all the other aggro decks, basically, because now they're giving the aggro decks one more turn to go face on a druid before they play Spreading Plague. There were a lot of druids out there. There were, and it was tough. And when someone would play this, it was hard. I mean, those guys, that's a lot of health to bring down. If you had a full board and they played this and got a board full of 1/5s with taunt, it was tough. Not impossible to get through, but tough. The thing with this card is you had to have a board yourself, and they had to find a way to play Spreading Plague and then get rid of your board. Because if they didn't, I mean, it wasn't easy, but it was easier for you to get rid of. Does that make sense? Like, it's not like Spreading Plague could be played, and just put up a wall and you had nothing on your board, or they put up the wall and then, they had extra mana to play something else and get rid of your board. I don't know. I think this hurt. It hurt aggressive decks. I mean, it buffed aggressive decks that were beating down Druid. Maybe they didn't see that. I mean, I'm just spitballing here, but I never had a problem beating Druid, but then again, I'm also not getting past rank 15. So
Yeah.
maybe they were seeing stuff that I didn't see, where aggressive decks weren't winning enough, so they felt like they needed to buff aggressive decks against Druid more, so that maybe that's it, giving them one more turn to go face before the big wall came down. I don't know.
Well, the biggest comment, I guess, kind of sums up kind of my thoughts on it, is someone had said that this doesn't really address the issue at heart of the card. This is a Druid card that heavily counters Zoo, and historically, it's one of the Druid's greatest weaknesses. And messing with the cost won't remedy the fact that this card builds a board out of nowhere and gives a fantastic amount of stall or delay power. So the change seems to be kind of irrelevant. And thoughts are that we're still going to see this card in many of the slower Druid lists.
Yeah.
So a lot of the people have been saying that it might have been better to change the health on the card minions that get summoned to a 1/3 versus leaving it a 1/5 because it was so big. I mean, those are big butts. That's what I would say.
I think even making it a 1/4, because that was my thought. So the two cards I thought that they would have in this list are Spreading Plague and Innervate. I kind of figured that they would have those in there after seeing that a lot of people were playing them and talking about them. I thought they were just going to lower the health to 4. That way Flame Strike could handle it. That way,
right.
Most minions that are played around 3, 4, and 5 mana have that 4 attack. So that's what I thought. But I think making it 6 mana, I'm not going to say it was the wrong choice, but it just makes it so they can play it later and enables aggressive decks to get a little bit more damage in. Which maybe they didn't see a lot of aggressive decks beating up on Druid. Maybe they saw Druid winning too much with Spreading Plague. Like I said earlier, those guys have access to all the information. So, playing Spreading Plague, when they were able to play it, did they get, what was the win percentage when a Druid player played Spreading Plague? That's a tongue twister there.
was
What was the
gonna
win
say.
percentage? You know, they were able to see it, right? So
Right.
they could look at that and say, okay, now let's try it out at 6 mana, you know, and then they throw, you know, Ixar and a few other guys in the mix, and they say, all right, guys, go at it with 6 mana and see how it feels. You know, because these guys are play testing these cards. I mean, there's no doubt they just go in the spreadsheet, change the mana to 6, and then, you know, start playing the game. And, you know, the cards now cost 6, and, you know, how's it feel? You know, and maybe they felt like they were, you know, able to win a little bit more against aggressive decks. Or I'm sorry, they felt like they were able to win a little bit more against Druid with those aggressive decks. So evening it out. I mean, obviously they don't just make these out of nowhere. You know, they do a lot of research. So, and the nice thing is they're able to do that. I mean, I think it was in Gadget Zan, maybe around that time, I think right before BlizzCon last year, where they actually showed Team 5 working with that spreadsheet and how they were able just to, you know, tick down the numbers and say, okay, we can say this, just plug it in and play, you know, plug, play. Just, you know, they could change cards just that quick, you know, in a little spreadsheet and then, you know, test them out. So,
yeah, I was going to say that earlier with the suggestions they made of Innervate changes they thought about doing, which was refreshing 2 mana crystals or changing the mana cost to 4 and giving 6 mana crystals. They probably just made those changes and they played several games internally, battling back and forth, said, hey, is that going to make it worse? Whoa, no, that's horrible. They'll do that, back off, you know, that type of thing. So I'm sure that's what happened with a lot of these changes. And I know they had to play these cards before these changes were made internally extensively, and then probably brought in, they probably have a select few of people who come in and play some of these ideas and changes they're making before they even go to the final stages. So,
yeah.
In fact, when we talked to Dean Ayala 100 episodes ago,
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
you know, he talked about how much they play internally and how much they test different ideas and pitch different thoughts against each other internally, and how they track all that information. And it's just pretty cool because you know that that's what they do internally. So at least we know this is well thought out. This isn't, oh, let's just try it, throw it out on people and see what happens. It's not that way at all. They do internally test these things extensively before making these changes. Okay, the only other thing that was mentioned in this update is that there were 2 other cards that they are not changing for now, and they did want to kind of touch base and kind of give reasons why they didn't include them here, or at least to discuss them, because it's been talked about in the community quite a bit. The Ultimate Infestation was one of those. And they know that it feels bad to lose to this card, but with all the other changes being made to Druid, ramping out Ultimate Infestation before turn 10 should happen less often. So they decided to leave it as is because of the changes. And I'm sure that's probably still to be determined. We'll see how things go, but they'll look at the stats and see where things are. And the other big one is Ice Block. A lot of people are calling for Ice Block to be moved into Hall of Fame. And Hall of Fame means that it moves into Wild only and not played in Standard anymore. But as they said, and this is really interesting, that only happens at the beginning of the year with the first expansion of the year. And quote, our general stance regarding Hall of Fame is that we want to avoid moving cards mid-year, end quote. That's all they said about it. So do you think that means that it's going to move into the Hall of Fame at the beginning of this next year?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, they pretty much said, yeah, this is going in the Hall of Fame next year because we don't want to move it during mid-year. So.
Yep.
Bye-bye Ice Block, but I think that's probably a good choice in the long run for Standard.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, and so the last thing I want to mention with these changes, that when this does go live, players will be able to disenchant the changed non-basic cards for full dust for 2 weeks. But keep in mind the basic cards cannot be dusted. That would mean that Spreading Plague and Murloc War Leader could be dusted for full cost if you choose to do so. And that'll be 2 weeks after it goes live. So if you're wanting to do that, that's your time frame to do that. personally, I never really do that. Although some people do say that it's a way to get free dust to be able to craft other things that you might want, or to then craft them afterwards. I just don't like to even go through that process. So 'cause I will use these cards again in various ways because I like goofing around with them. So I like having a good collection. I don't like getting rid of stuff. So
Yeah.
oh, last part about this is that Ben Brode went to Reddit today, answering questions about the nerfs that were announced yesterday. So, or earlier today. Was it yesterday that was announced, or was it this morning?
You mean
The changes.
he announced,
announced
that
that
we would
today.
have changes yesterday.
Yeah, he did
And
the
then
actual
probably
announcement today.
about, I would say probably 3:00, so noon, around just after lunchtime Pacific time. So after he finished lunch, he pressed the big red button and said, "This is going out there."
Yeah, they went out to Reddit and started answering questions. And some of the things he said a result of this was the goal with the nerfs was to reduce the ratio of basic or classic cards in standard decks. It's too high. And he thinks that around 10-ish cards is about right for what should be included in the standard deck.
Interesting.
So, as we were talking earlier, these changes they're making is because there's way too many of them showing up in the standard decks. So pulling the Fiery War Axe down to where it's only used in quite a few, like half the decks, that's a big change, and that's where they wanted to be. That's where they want it. So it was never a plan not to make changes to basic or classic cards. And the Hall of Fame is there to act kind of like a rotating core set that other games have. I don't understand that statement. Do you understand that better with knowing your background with CCGs?
So I'm still stuck on
Okay.
the first thing he said. So if we could
Okay,
go back to
go
that
back.
real quick.
Yep.
So the goal with the nerfs was to reduce the ratio of basic classic cards in standard decks. It was too high. So this is weird to me, because as a advocate for the new player, I want, not super powerful decks, but viable decks to have basic cards in them. Those are cards that you get for free just for playing and leveling a character. You don't have to buy packs. You don't even have to open packs. You just have to play and level up to get all the basic cards. I like that basic cards are in decks. So going back to Fiery War Axe and Innervate, that hurts everybody, even newer players. And it probably hurts newer players more, because those are cards that they counted on in these adventures. Those are cards that they counted on to get a little bit of an edge on the people that have legendaries and epics and rare cards even. So these nerfs really hurt the newer players, and it upsets me that Ben Brode said they want to reduce the ratio of basic and not necessarily. I'm upset more about the fact that he said basic, because I really wish that they would have a few basic cards like Fiery War Axe and Innervate available to newer players so they can have a few viable cards when they first start out. Why try to nerf newer players? And so this statement kind of rubs me the wrong way. The goal with nerfs was to reduce the ratio of basic classic cards in standard decks. It's too high. Now, I understand classic cards, because as a new player, you're probably going to get the newest expansion. Like when someone just started this past month, they got a plethora of Frozen Throne packs for free, right? Just by playing, just by logging in, they get a bunch of cards. So yeah, they're going to see they're not going to see as many classic cards. Now, every week, if they do the brawl and win, which they're making it harder for them to win now if it's a constructed brawl, because they're taking away the powerful basic cards. They're nerfing them. So this, and this statement kind of brings me to a boil, because I don't like that. I don't, I think it's, players are going to they're going to find workarounds. The more experienced players, they're going to find workarounds. They're going to find a way to, either use something else rather than Innervate, or use Innervate still and still win with it. Whereas, the beginner player, you're hurting them. You're crippling them. I mean, are you on board with that? Or,
totally.
Yeah. And
well, so let me wrap into that conversation. There was one comment he made as well that said they are hoping to have something to announce early next year to talk about better player accessibility to meta decks for new players. Okay. Didn't they say sometime, was it BlizzCon last year, that they're really focusing on the new player experience? Have we seen anything happen for the new player experience other than nerfs? Really, honestly, not a whole lot. And and now we're hearing, early next year we're going to hear about a better accessibility for players to meta decks.
Well, I think the issue here is newer players. One, they don't know about this awesome community that's in Hearthstone, right? They're just like, oh, this is
a Legend of the Innkeeper,
or yeah, right. So, like me, I didn't know there was podcasts about Hearthstone. What? This is crazy. I didn't know there were websites totally devoted to Hearthstone. Well, guess what? There's probably over 100 websites that are updated almost daily with Hearthstone information. New players don't know that. They don't know that all this information is out there. So it's difficult for a new player to really, really get an edge, and for him to say, well, we can't have too many basic cards in standard decks. Well, why? Like, you're crippling the new player. I'm kind of closed-minded when it comes to this, because the competitive scene is not in my view. I don't really pay attention to it. I'm glad we have it, because that drives the game, right? That's what keeps the game going, because those people talk, those people make noise, they stream, so a lot of their opinions are going to matter a lot more. And that, I guess that's why I feel like I have to be such an advocate for the new player, because they don't have a place to talk, because they probably don't even know there's a subreddit for Hearthstone. I didn't even know what Reddit was when I first started playing Hearthstone. So, I mean, I feel like I have to be an advocate for new players, because they don't have a voice, right? I mean, they have one, but they don't. I don't know. As a new, speaking from experience, as a new player, when I was a new player, I had no idea I could voice my opinion on a Reddit or on a Twitter or on, so, I mean, maybe now they can. Maybe it's because I was, in my late 30s when I started playing Hearthstone. I don't know. But yeah, okay. I'm off my soapbox. I apologize. Okay. You were saying, what's my opinion on which?
The only other thing that he mentioned, also made comments on, is that the Hall of Fame is, well, never mind. We won't go to that one. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for right now. I know that there's going to be a big.
Are you afraid I'll go off again? Is that why you're like, we're going to talk about?
It's time to move on.
Okay, I got you. I'm cool with moving on.
Okay. Well, there's going to be a lot of updates coming to this. I'm sure a lot of discussions are going to come around this. I'm sure we'll probably even have an interview with, who knows, Ben Brode or Dean on one of the sites and all that. They'll go into this a little more detail and maybe discuss the process. We'll see how that breaks out in the next week or so as we go through this. But in the meantime, let's talk about some Espo mode, some Tavern Brawl for this last week.
Blood Magic?
Blood Magic.
Crazy. So this is the second time we've seen this. The other time was, I guess we could say, it's wild. And most brawls are wild, where they allow you to choose from the entire collection to make a deck. Or they make your deck from the entire collection. So this was Blood Magic Standard. You were only allowed to build your deck with standard cards. And the way this worked was spells no longer just spells, not minions, not what are those new cards? Death Knight cards. So we've got 3 kinds of cards now. We have the Death Knight cards, we have spells, and we have minions. Spells in this brawl now cost mana instead of health. And I immediately went to Rogue for this because I just finished my Golden Rogue. And I thought, oh my gosh, Shadow Blade, Doomerang, and Violet Illusionist. Oh my goodness, this is awesome. So I put a few cards that would bounce things. So I would bounce Violet Illusionist in, or I'm sorry, play Violet Illusionist, play Sprint and all the other spells for free because I was immune my turn. And then when I was done, I would just bounce the Violet Illusionist back to my hand so they wouldn't kill it. Ta-da! There we go.
Wow.
And the same with Shadow Blade, because Shadow Blade, I would Doomerang it. So when I was finished with my turn, I would just Doomerang it out, kill a minion, or I think it's a minion. I think Doomerang, you have to hit a minion with it. But oh my gosh, just so much fun with Rogue. Had a blast with Rogue. Rogue was a lot of fun. Mage. Saw a lot of mages, obviously, right?
Yep.
Because their direct damage spells are through the roof. Pyroblast. You get for 10 health, you can hit the other person for 10 health.
Yeah.
It was fun. I had a lot of fun with Mage. Mage was cool. So I played against it. It was really cool. And Paladin was neat. So I played against a few Paladins. I didn't play it myself, but they were able to buff minions with charge through the roof for some serious fast damage. But I did notice that a lot of players were, turn 1, they would go, whole hog, man. They would throw it all in and get down to like 10 health, right?
Yep.
Well, Hunter's pretty good at doing some quick damage. So I just made a minion heavy deck with kill commands.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, bam, 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 to the face. And I was like, oh, you're dead. Yep, exactly. I didn't even use any spells. And then if I did get in a hard spot, and I had more than 3 health remaining and a beast on board, I would play a few free kill commands and finish them off. But yeah, Hunter was fun in this, but I didn't really use, I used the brawl against them. I didn't use it to my advantage. I used it to their disadvantage. I capitalized on their greediness, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't get to play Priest. I shouldn't say I didn't get to. I guess I didn't get to it because I had a lot of decks I wanted to play. And Priest didn't make it into the cut. But Priest I saw doing a lot of big combos because the fact that you could use health instead of mana to pay for these spells made it so that you had more than 10 mana. So you could do these crazy combos that used to cost, 15 mana or, a Radiant Elemental or 2, to make your spells cheaper. Now you could do it with health. As long as you didn't kill yourself, you could get the combo off. So I saw a lot of priests getting some fun combos off. And that was neat. I really enjoy when other people are able to get combos off. Like the other day, I saw someone use the Uncle Tony and 4 Sorcerer's Apprentices to do unlimited fireballs. And he did it right. He killed all my minions off. And then he just pinged me. I think he pinged the minion, pinged me, pinged the minion. And I say ping, but it was 6 damage, with the fireball. And it was really, really cool. And I was like, yeah, I wasn't salty at all. I was like, dude, you got to do it. That's awesome. Because when you, as a mage player, when you get to do those cool combos, it's awesome, right? You're like, please don't concede. I want to be able to do this. So I'm just sitting back watching it, just laughing because, hey, this is just a game. It's not like this is my final boss for Legend. I was like, dude, go at it, man. Have a good time. I wish I could talk to these people and be like, yeah, man, you're doing it. You're doing it. Of course, they would probably think I'm being sarcastic. But no, I want people to have fun. Getting those combos off is awesome. It's so much fun because I've been there. I've done it. I want people to be able to do it. And taunt me. I don't care. Taunt me all you want. That's part of the game. That's why it's there. Have fun. And then, So that's all I have to say about Blood Magic. It was fun. I felt bad because new players, it was a little bit tougher for them, but
Right.
you know,
Well, for some reason, I get the feeling that you enjoyed
cool
that.
stuff.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
considering how excited you got when you talked about it.
Oh,
Clearly
dude,
a
yeah.
winner in your book.
Yes. Let's do it again.
Okay, now, how long is it going to take you to talk about Big Guy?
Not long at all. I have like
Okay,
2 cards I can talk about.
okay. So we said we talked about the Lich King and about the last wing, so to speak, when you're battling
Yeah.
the Lich King. So describe it a little bit.
Okay. So going against the big guy, it's really, really cool because each class he plays a spell on turn 1 that's different. So as an example, the mage spell takes Jaina or Khadgar, whoever your hero is, down to 1 health. So that happens actually in a lot against a lot of classes. Depending on what class you bring, the spell is different. So for mage, he just brings you down to 1 health. That's what the spell does. Now you can use that to your advantage, much like with the hunter. If you go at him with a hunter deck that has any minions in it, he does damage on turn 1 according to how many minions you have in your deck. So if you have let's say you have 10 minions, he's going to do 20 damage to you because it's for every minion you have in your deck, he does 2 damage. So you could use that to your advantage. The way I worked those type of encounters is I immediately went Molten Giant. And then I put everything in my deck that would copy those things, like faceless manipulators and faceless shamblers. Anything that copied attack or health of a minion that I had, I would put in there. So I played those Molten Giants super early in my hunter, in my mage. Let me see, what other decks? Was it, what did he do to Warlock? I can't remember. But anyway, most of my decks I ran Molten Giants, and the ones that I didn't run Molten Giant, I ran Murlocs.
He
Murlocs
did
are
deal
super
2 damage.
fast.
Deal 2 damage to each duplicate.
Okay, that's right, because you wanted to play a Highland. They wanted you to play a Highlander style, one of Warlock. I didn't. I made it so I could get my Molten Giants out quicker. I thought it was Warlock, Hunter, and Mage that I did that with, and I was correct. Then I ran Murlocs for a few others. Now, the Warrior was my last one, and I thought it was going to be the hardest. So I did the most research in my collection on that one. I wanted something that had some staying power and was able to hit really, really hard, because the spell he casts at the beginning is gain 150 armor.
100.
So you're going up against a guy. Is it 100?
armor. Yep.
Okay. So
and he ends up with 130 health and armor.
Okay. All right. So he has 260 health?
No.
Oh.
He ends up with 100 armor and 30 health.
Okay. I got you.
So 130 total between the two.
I was like, wow, I really went to town. So I wanted to run a warrior deck that enabled me to get big, fat minions on the board that would be able to take his 2, because he did on turn 7, he played his Frostmourne. And he filled the board with 6 2/6 minions. While those minions were on the board, he was immune. So it's basically a wall that you had to defeat. Then once they died, Frostmourne was gone, which is a 5 attack weapon that's also immune. So you couldn't ooze it, you couldn't do anything else. Which reminds me, there's a lot of cards you can play against the Lich King that are fun. When you play the ooze, he laughs and says, did you really think that would work against me? And there's a lot of other cards that you can play against him. Try playing Snow Flipper Penguin. I'm not gonna spoil that one. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, so I decided against Warrior to play Alarmabot. So Alarmabot's the 0/3 robot that at the beginning of your turn, it exchanges itself with minions in your hand, with 1 minion in your hand. So I was able to play Alarmabot on turn 3 and basically start churning out these huge minions like Ragnaros, and any other minion that was big. I played a lot of just big, not classic, but neutral, common minions. So the crystal wasn't rare, wasn't epic. They were just common minions that just had huge health and huge attack. And I just traded them out with Alarmabot at the beginning of every turn and just went bonkers. And it was really, really fun and actually really easy. I beat him on the first try to get my Arthas portrait. So I thought Warrior was going to be hard, but it was pretty easy. I beat him. I mean, it was ugly, dude. I was smashing him in the face. 8, 9, 10 damage, with each minion. And I had my board full. Played KT in there too. So a few of my taunt minions with a KT. It was tough. It was tough. But yeah, and KT played against the Lich King as fun too. There's a lot of cool things going on with this adventure. When you play cards against Lich King, pay attention. And the neat thing is, oh yes, definitely turn the sound on, because after you beat him with each class, there's a little caricature portrait, and you see your hero change into the Death Knight hero, and then it says something cool underneath about how they changed and what they did after they changed into the Lich King. So, because obviously
we also talked about how can you tell which ones you completed. We hinted on this last week. We didn't talk about it.
So when you defeat the Lich King, you see his Frostmourne sword, and as you know, Frostmourne, it captures the souls of everyone it kills. So it's funny because as you defeat the Lich King with a class, a little rune on Frostmourne lights up, and there's 9 runes. So, after you light up the 9th rune, there you go. You got the Arthas portrait, and it's very cool. And it's funny, right before we recorded tonight, I said, "Oh, Vastidius, let me. I literally just got Arthas. Let me play him real quick." So I queued up into a paladin with Arthas. It was cool. So it was pretty neat. I got to play against an Arthas with my Arthas. So, also, once you get Arthas, go back and play the Lich King again with Arthas as your hero.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and pay attention to what he says when you come out. It's just so cool. I can't say enough about it. Super exciting, and so glad the way they did this. Really happy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, the final thing is for this night is to let you know, hey, guess what? We finally got the Twitch affiliate. We talked about doing this a couple weeks ago. We were going to try and get it. We did. We got approved. Bingo. What does that do for us? Well, what that does is allow you, if you wanted to join us and watch us on Twitch live when we're recording a show at 8 p.m. Central Eastern Time on twitch.tv/LOTI podcast Tuesday nights, you can do so. And then you can cheer with what Twitch calls bits, which are little ways to donate a little bit of coin to our show to support us. Or you can subscribe to the channel, and that supports the show directly each month. And this is different than our Patreon account, because I know some people out there are in the Twitch universe. They do this all the time. They would rather do it this way because it's something they've already done. So we're just giving you another option and choice, the ability for you to do that if you want to support us in a certain way. The other thing it also provides is that our subscribers can get an emote for subscribing, and we're working on that. We're going to determine what that emote may be. We both said immediately, it's got to be the fun guaranteed emote, right? Yeah, well, how do we make that a little tiny emote? So we're going to work on that. If you have a suggestion of what you would like to see as an emote to be a subscriber, let us know. We'd love to hear from you on that. So we shall see. That should be coming fairly soon once we can figure that out and get that going. But it's just another way for you to do it, to support the show if you're able to. We appreciate all the support that you guys do for us, because it just helps us keep things moving forward, and we look forward to all kinds of new things that we're able to do with that type of support. So thanks again for those who are already supporting us in many ways, even just listening and giving us iTunes reviews or sending in emails or tweeting to us. All those things encourage us and get us going speaking of emails, we got one this week. We got one
Well,
from.
hold on. I want to give
Oh.
a shout out to our first subscriber.
Okay, go for it.
We already have a subscriber. So
Yay!
Anne has subscribed. So shout out to Anne. She has subscribed to us. So it's now Jeremy's turn to subscribe. So get on it, Jeremy. You better be you best be subscribing. And you will be the third subscriber if you do it now. Because I already subscribed to my own channel.
Even we support our show,
Yeah.
right?
That's right.
Okay.
I
Email.
Yeah, I'm a supporter.
Okay, so we did get an email today. It was actually last week. It's from our friend John Urich. He's Starlax. Says, I've always found your podcast super enjoyable because you guys are just real people playing Hearthstone for fun. A topic that comes up often for players, especially when a new expansion comes out, are budget decks. Before the expansion released, I raced up to rank 5 because I wanted to spend a month just testing everything with him, not worrying about his rank. And after a few weeks of terrible deck building ideas, he went back to Mage and found a great budget-friendly Mage deck. It only has 2 epics, the rest are rare, common, or class cards. And he sent us a link to the deck. And he said this maybe will help some new players or players with less complete collections to compete and climb the ladder. So awesome. Appreciate you sending that in. It's a pretty cool deck. I have played something very similar to this with the exclusion of Bone Mare that's in this one. So I'm going to play this and check it out. So if you want to see the link, it is in the show notes under comments from email. So check it out.
Copying it now.
Okay. Then we had Twitter shout out.
Yeah, so this week's Twitter Twitter shout out goes out to Wayne, one of our Twitter followers who follows quite a bit and tweets at us a lot, which is really, really cool. So
And he's in chat, by the way. Or he was earlier.
So he says he needs some help refining this Warlock deck. And Vastidius and I both have gold in Warlock. We've played quite a bit of Warlock. Haven't played too much of it lately. I don't know. I'm speaking for myself. Vast Warlock lately?
No.
Okay.
Not enough.
So I went ahead and I made this deck, played one game with it. It does run Blood Reaver Gul'dan, so I already approve, but I didn't get to play Blood Reaver. I was dead by turn 5. So little tough, didn't roll into any of my taunt minions and had a little bit of that. That's not good. You're right. Anytime you're dead by turn 5, your game's over. Like you gotta play another game. If you're at 0 health, you gotta play another game. You can't keep going. It's not happening. So yeah, I'm gonna have to play it a little bit and take a look at it. So.
And what's really good is if you
I wanted to give him a shout out because that's super cool that he tweeted at us.
And what's really good is if you post this on the Facebook group. Also, our Facebook patrons who are part of that group can also add some ideas, can go through and give some critiques, and maybe even give some changes to the list. Say, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? Which they do all the time, and it's amazing. So while we're at it, why don't we shout out somebody on Facebook?
All right, so our Facebook shout out this week is Dusharmo. He said the 12 win run drought is over, and he's talking about Arena. And for those of you that don't know, a 12 win run means that's the max. If you make it to 12 wins, you've maxed it out. That's all they allow you to win. You can't get 13 wins in Arena. The crazy thing is, here's what's crazy about it. He started 2-2. So in other words, he already had 2 wins, 2 losses. One more loss, and he's done. So he actually won 9 in a row. Although he did have Medivh and Anexia in his deck, which is insane in Arena. That is awesome. Very, very cool. I approve. 12 wins is awesome. I think the most I've had is 9. I've done that twice.
Wow.
I've never
Good
made
for
it
you,
to
considering
12.
how little you play Arena.
I think I played Arena twice.
Probably.
I played a few times.
Well, okay, that
Not
does
as
it
much
this week.
as you though, dude. That night we did that count. That was crazy.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what the deal was with that. I certainly don't have very many wins. I think the most I have is 7. So,
Well, 7's not bad.
yeah. So, anyways, that should wrap us up this week. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. And if you want to join us, twitch.tv/Legend of LOTI podcast, excuse me. And you can also follow us there, because if you follow us there, you will get notifications when we go live. And we've been doing some streaming here and there a little bit more. We're going to try and do that some more, especially with us now having the Twitch affiliate piece to it. So that we appreciate your support on that. And if you want to show notes to get these decks that have been mentioned already, you can come to legendofinnkeeper.com and go to the latest show and be able to get that information. So that should do it this week. We appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks.
Good job, team. $152 wins in Arena. Oh, I forgot to say how many. Did I? Yeah, I already said how many wins I have with Priest so far. 252. Doing it.
Good job.
Trying.
Okay.
Good job, dude. We have.
Thanks, everybody.
subscribers. Yeah, Twitch. That was awesome. You guys are cool. And yes, Zeroshio's right. I just noticed this. So we have minions, spells, hero cards, and weapons. Ah, fail. Someone's gonna be yelling at the dashboard of their truck. Weapons and weapons.
Yes.
Yep. It'll be somebody, because there's somebody just like me out there. I'm sure
Oh, yeah,
there has
no
to
doubt.
be. There has to be. There can't just be one. There's got to be more like me that scream at their dashboard. Like the other day when I was listening to the legendary loot box, and they were trying to find a word, and I was yelling at the dashboard like I do
That was so
on my.
funny.
Oh, it was awesome. And then I bet Espo's yelling at his dashboard right now. And I was. Too funny. Oh my gosh. That was a riot, dude. So.
Okay, then. Well, thanks again, guys, for hanging out with us. We're going to go for now, and we'll be back next week, if not sooner.
That's right.